Well, the pro-choice movement is staging a march this morning just along the coast from here. They're protesting against the anti-abortion group who have been lobbying and filming women as they enter abortion clinics, both here in Brighton and also other major cities across our country. Should abortion be a private matter? Well, good morning to Andy Stevenson. There you are, from Abort 67. Now, we have a right to protest in this country, enshrined, no doubt, in the aforementioned European Court of Human Rights. But what you stand accused of doing is going slightly beyond that and intimidating women on the way into the clinic who are in a vulnerable situation anyway. So how do you respond to that criticism?
Well, I mean, it'd be useful, first of all, to set the record straight. We don't film people going into abortion clinics. We don't shout at people, you know, contrary to the allegations in the media.
You don't, others have. What do you do?
What we do is we want to educate people as to who the unborn child is and what abortion does to him or her. And we agree that actually abortion should be a private matter. Women should have, access to it without any kind of, needing to for doctor signatures or anything like that. There should be unrestricted access to abortion. If the unborn child isn't really an unborn child, if the unborn child isn't a human being, then, why should there be any kind of restriction on abortion?
You believe the unborn child is a human being from the point of conception?
From the point of conception.
So you believe it's murder?
And we believe it's killing a small human being who is defenceless by people who are...
So if you're relaying that information to women on the way into the clinic, now there's been a big furore locally about one particular woman who was a rape victim, and she said the experience of being lobbied, given this information, made her feel intimidated and panicky and judged. Now, you don't know the individual circumstances, do you? She'd been raped.
Well, no, we don't know the individual circumstances of all these women going into the clinic or the people going past the clinic. What we're doing is we're trying to reach the broader society with what's happening behind us in the clinic, but also the people who are going in. In that case, surely
this is the place to do it, or in a radio studio, or through a newspaper article, or through an internet site.
This isn't where abortion is happening.
A vulnerable woman's ear.
Well, we agree they're vulnerable, but they're vulnerable to being victimised by BPAS, by Mary Stopes, who will tell them that their baby isn't a baby. They'll tell them it's a blob of tissue. We are there. All we do, we stand there with pictures, and this is what's happening here. The abortion industry is in a panic because they've survived for 40-odd years because what they're doing is being hidden behind euphemisms, behind closed door. All we're doing is showing what they do. If the abortionists were having to perform the abortions where we stand on the pavement, abortion would be illegal next week. All we're doing is showing people what abortion is. We don't call people murderers, we have slogans or anything like that.
I think it's a matter of a time and a place, as you've said. I think if you want to go and lobby Parliament against abortion, that's up to you. But if somebody's going to an abortion clinic, they're going because they've made a decision or they're going to go and think about that decision. And your pictures are right in their faces. They don't have a choice about whether they see those pictures. They might want to choose to go and have a look about more information, but I believe that in the abortion clinic they'll be given the relevant information that they need, and I think we should trust the women, and if you don't want to have an abortion, don't have an abortion. That's fine. I'm pro-choice. I'm not pro-abortion. I'm not telling everybody to go and have abortions. All I'm saying is it's legal, and these are legal medical services, and you're obstructing women from accessing these.
Alice, you want to come in here as well, because you've seen a similar operation in America, haven't you?
Yes, basically in Wichita, Kansas, I did do chaperoning at a clinic that had abortion procedures carried out, basically because there would be protesters lining the side of the clinic and shouting at the women as they came in, kind of some abusive, some things quite emotionally blackmailing.
Like what emotionally blackmailing?
Jesus loves the little life inside you, don't murder your baby. They did say this to a woman that was actually carrying a young baby into the clinic, which made her break down in tears and made her partner very angry. So it's obviously a very traumatizing experience for her.
Well, Philip Long, we're back to rights, aren't we? I mean, or
well,
are we?
I mean, it's a genuinely difficult subject. Let's make no bones about that. But there are cases in America also where, you know, often women go into abortion because they feel they have no choice, because they feel that actually they've never really been presented with any other options. And I think there is an abortion industry that structures the outcome in a certain way. And there's examples in America of people who and I don't agree with violent protesting, I don't agree with kind of anything that's intimidating, but some women are persuaded by the protesters to carry the child to pregnancy, and some of them then go and join the picket. The point is that people are persuaded. Now, I think in a free and democratic society...
I mean, her tears looked pretty real to me.
No, I'm sure some people are intimidated, but some people are also persuaded, and some people are very grateful to the protesters that actually that another option was presented to them.
Okay, I mean, this is I mean, Caroline Lucas, this is a fundamental part of our rights, isn't it? They, you know, Andy and Caroline and others over there, they absolutely sincerely believe this. You may not agree with them, but they believe it's murder. Have they not got the right to transmit that message to people?
They've certainly got the right to transmit that message. I absolutely uphold the right to peaceful protest. But I think what we're seeing with some of these groups is that they are going well beyond just peaceful protest, just holding up photographs. That's not what I've been hearing from talking to the staff inside some of these clinics,
animal rights
for example.
protesters who stand outside, you know, institutions?
If people are actually interfering with individuals at a vulnerable point in their lives, I am not against that. I'm against that, whoever's doing it. And that is what is happening. And it's also suggesting, I think very insultingly, that organisations like the British Pregnancy Advisory people are not actually giving objective advice. They are. Okay. We've talked to them, we've seen the information.
There's two things here. This is precisely why we film ourselves outside the abortion clinic, because we knew right from the outset there were going to be allegations about our behaviour. The clinic in the past had accused elderly people of urinating on the cars in the car park. We knew we had to document our displays. We invite the police to attend every display we do.
Let's bring Angela, is it Caroline, isn't it?
That's right.
Yeah, I see you nodding vigorously. I want to bring you in here. Go on, what do you want to say?
Well, whilst I actually agree with Andy in terms of you know, his rights to protest, I do have a slight sort of divergence of opinion here, because I think we need to educate the public as to the fact that this is an unborn child. But I would say that Andy's images are very, very visceral. You know, they inspire a very strong response, and very often, you know, when I'm walking through Brighton, I see the vivisectionists and often horrendous photos of children maimed in wars. And actually, when we see something that really angers us or upsets us, we get very upset and angry, and we need to have intellectual honesty and say, why are we so angry about this? But actually, when we see something really gruesome and upsetting, we just want to turn. We want to turn.
Counterproductive.
Well,
in a way,
I think, to be honest, I think rather than the brutal instruments of the abortionists, a better tactic would be. There's been so many advances in embryology and diagnostic imaging. Professor Stuart Campbell, you know, many pregnant women have these 4D scans, and I think. Although graphic images do have their place, I think they're better off if you're in an open and engaged and constructive dialogue with a consensual human being, or sorry, a consensual adult, as opposed to, you know, I'm very pro-life.
But I just wonder, can I bring out to Andy as well? Yeah, you come in, Caroline, isn't it? Yeah. Angela, I do beg your pardon, that was Caroline.
Yeah.
Sorry about that.
I just
do you
want to
believe that these women don't realise that that's potentially a baby inside them? Do you believe that?
Yeah, I do believe that some people don't realise what they're doing.
Really?
I do. Because we don't have so much open discussion. It's like Caroline was saying, we need to have a constructive. You were talking about being mature about another subject earlier today, and we need to just think about this subject, not this is wrong and this is right, you know, the polarisation that goes on. Let's go into the middle here and look at the human side of it. You know, what are these women going through? Are they actually being given a proper choice? Or is it they feel there is no choice? Because there are many women who I counsel and have phoned me and been on the phone to me for hours, you know, who were coerced into abortion. And these include solicitors, these include very well educated people.
You had two abortions, didn't you? Now you counsel people.
I had two abortions. That I was, the second one was a persuasion.
So you believe there's not the proper information, no response to that?
No, proper choice.
Proper choice, because of
Well, here in Brighton, I know that people are protesting outside the Wistons clinic, and I have been and talked to the staff in that clinic, and I am completely convinced that they are giving a broad range of information. If there are clinics where that's not happening, that's not right. But when you talk about saying that there shouldn't be polarisation, surely it's exactly polarisation that's happening when people are outside these clinics, not just standing with photographs, but actually giving plastic fetuses, thrusting them into people's hands as they walk in, making them absolutely tearful, making it much harder for the staff to deal with them after that. That's exactly the polarisation that you're describing.
The gentleman there, let's come to you if I may. Gentleman here, yes, what would you like to say? Sorry, this guy here.
2 months ago, an article was published in the Journal of Medical Ethics. After birth abortion, why should the baby live? There was a big outcry at the time because the people who wrote this article said that there is no moral difference between a newborn and a fetus. There is no reason, in other words, why a newborn should not be killed if it isn't burdensome. If it's burdensome.
It's a slightly different issue.
Slightly different issue, but they make a very telling admission on page 2 of the article that both a fetus and a newborn certainly are human beings. The point about that is that as soon as something is a human being below the age of majority, but it comes within the terms of Article 1 of the Declaration of the Rights of the Child. The Preamble and Article 6 impose on states an obligation to do everything possible to protect that human individual. Personhood is irrelevant.
Come back on that. Thank you, Beth. Come back on that.
I think there's no universally agreed decision point on when a human life becomes a human life. Everyone's got different opinions about that, and if you believe human life begins at conception, that's up to you. But don't tell me what I'm allowed to do with my womb.
Well, this is a settled legal matter now, isn't it? But
it is not a controversial issue that human life begins at conception. If BPAS want to get rid of us, if abortion rights want to get rid of us, we will leave tomorrow. We will shut our website down if they can prove to us with science that the unborn child who is killed in abortion isn't a human being. We will stop doing what we're doing instantly.
We're talking about the potential for human life.
No, we're talking about human life with potential.
And how far are you going to go? I know that you're against having the morning after pill. You want to ban that as well. I've read that on your site. And, you know, how far are you going to go? You're going to start saying that you can't
let's get back to our
contraception.
debate. Beth, if we could, get back to our debate, which is this a private matter? No. And Caroline as well addressed this too. The debates, and we have them on this programme regularly, about the end of life and also the beginning of life are huge ethical issues, and they are necessarily, quite properly, matters of public... If I may in a minute, if I may just finish, they are matters of public discourse, aren't they? So this clearly is a matter of public discourse. Why can it not then be a matter of them being able to express what they believe to the people that they believe are doing this bad, wrong thing?
Doing it, I think. I have absolutely no problem with peaceful protest, with people giving that kind of information. I have been outside that clinic, and I have heard as well about people who are literally not just being given information, but being harassed, being physically pushed, being given plastic fetuses. It may not be your group, but it's not untrue to say that's happening. I've heard of that happening, and people have told me about this.
And I think we want to avoid the American situation. We want to avoid the American situation where you do get insanity on both sides. And I think that we need to stop abortion being a taboo subject, which in effect it is. And I think with the advances in medical procedures, we now have a situation in which abortion is permitted beyond the point at which actually children are born and can survive. So it's actually back on the agenda. And we need to have a non-poisoned atmosphere to discuss what is clearly an issue. Because we know, for instance, we don't permit abortion up to the point of birth. So we accept after 24 weeks that there are rights.
At the end of life debate, the goalposts are moving there.
Yes, so the goalposts are moving everywhere.
In a second, I'll come to you first, then I'm going to come to you. Yeah.
It's a plea for removing the taboo and having a civilised conversation.
All right, yes. Good morning.
Just wondering, Andy, if you're so right about everything, how come all your pamphlets resort to medical misinformation and abuse in them, rather than actually setting out how things are? You say abortions will send people mad, you say they will give you cancer, not not proven at all, and it's in all your literature. I've seen it on your website.
We don't actually have any literature. The displays outside Wiston's attract various people from other groups.
So you should condemn them.
All we do is show people what abortion does to an unborn child. And if that makes people so angry, we've got to ask ourselves, if abortion's such a good idea, why do pictures of it make people so angry?
So just use the pictures. Why do you have to say that it will give you cancer and threaten women? That's threatening and intimidating women.
This gentleman wants to come back in. Yes, sir, what would you like to say?
I wish to bring to your attention, first and foremost, women are very, very important people.
Amen. And that's why we do this, because we care for them as well.
And the whole society, we try to mix oil with water. It never mixes. Now, women are very, very important people, and I can tell you from the Bible, right in the very beginning, God said, let us make man in our image. He went on, he made Eve. And all the things you see in the Lord Jesus Christ is right there in the book of Genesis. Now, women are supposed to populate the country. Jesus is excited about women giving birth and bringing up children. If I may just remind you, when the disciples bid the mothers go away, Jesus saw ere they fled, sweetly said, kindly said, suffer little children to come unto me, for of such is the kingdom of God.
Thank you, sir. Rabbi Eli.
One of the things we're forgetting, right in all of this debate, is women do not run around saying, oh, I can't wait to have an abortion. No, women are having abortions because they need to have, at that stage, they need to have an abortion. Nobody wants to have an abortion. Yes, and that is the fun.
Let me take it up to here. You had your hand up at the back. Good morning to you as well.
I just simply don't buy it when someone like Andy says that, you know, they care for women. Because I really don't think that showing these graphic images and when a woman is at a vulnerable point in her life and surely hasn't taken a decision lightly, that is not caring for a woman. And I think we want to care for women, we want to care for their mental well-being, and we want to support them in whatever choice that they make, and not intimidate them when they are trying to access legal services.
Be intimidating. If we care for them, we will allow them to have all the facts.
Have made their decision. They have looked at all the evidence. They know the facts. But it's intimidating when someone waves a placard in your face.
The thing is, the information is readily available. We're in an information-rich society. Surely, if they want to seek this information and find it, they quite easily can without you standing there.
Well, actually, abortion is generally hidden away. The abortion clinics are telling women that this is just a pregnancy, it's the removal of a pregnancy, it's all this kind of benign language that they're using. And we've got evidence of this. And all we want to do is, we're not making any... We know we can't stop women from having abortion. We know we can't, you know, prevent them from making their legal choices. But we do believe they need to be properly informed.
Thank you. We have to leave it there. Thank you all very much indeed. And thank you, sir, for another spectacular intervention. Thank you. If you've got views about that debate, log on to bbc.co.uk/thebigquestions. Follow the...
What we're doing is we're trying to reach the broader society with what's happening behind us in the clinic, but also the people who are going...
This is the place to do it, or in a radio studio, or through a newspaper article, or through an internet site.
This isn't where abortion is happening.
A vulnerable woman's ear.
Well, we agree they're vulnerable, but they're vulnerable to being victimised by BPAS, by Mary Stopes, who will tell them that their baby isn't a baby. They'll tell them it's a blob of tissue. We are there. All we do, we stand there with pictures, and this is what's happening here. The abortion industry is in a panic because they've survived for 40-odd years because people who are...
So, if you're relaying that information to women on the way into the clinic, now there's been a big furore locally about one particular woman who was a rape victim, and she said the experience of being lobbied, given this information, made her feel intimidated and panicky and judged. Now, you don't know the individual circumstances, do you? She'd been raped.
Well, no, we don't know the individual circumstances of all these women going into the clinic or the people going past the clinic.
Well, the pro-choice movement is staging a march this morning just along the coast from here, they're protesting against the anti-abortion group who have been lobbying and filming women as they enter abortion clinics, both here in Brighton and also other major cities across our country. Should abortion be a private matter? Well, good morning to Andy Stevenson. There you are, from Abort 67. Now, we have a right to protest in this country, enshrined, no doubt, in the aforementioned European Court of Human Rights. But what you stand accused of doing is...
Actually, abortion should be a private matter. Women should have, access to it without any kind of, needing to for doctor signatures or anything like that. There should be unrestricted access to abortion. If the unborn child isn't really an unborn child, if the unborn child isn't a human being, then, why should there be any kind of restriction on abortion?
You believe the unborn child is a human being from the point of conception?
From the point of conception.
So you believe it's murder?
We believe it's killing a small human being who is defenceless by people.
Is going slightly beyond that and intimidating women on the way into the clinic who are in a vulnerable situation anyway. So how do you respond to that criticism?
Well, I mean, it'd be useful, first of all, to set the record straight. We don't film people going into abortion clinics. We don't shout at people, contrary to the allegations in the media.
You don't, others have. What do you do?
What we do is we want to educate people as to who the unborn child is and what abortion does to him or her. And we agree that